is OverDrive with Hayes, Noodles, and the O-Dog on TSN 1050.
Hour 2 OverDrive continues, brought to you by FanDuel, bringing you everything from the opening line to the final score. Bryan Hayes, Andi Petrillo, Dave Feschuk. Got confirm or deny later in the hour. Bruce Boudreau coming up. The Leafs are back in action tonight in New York. It's been a great road trip. Last night, you got to see a really fun game last night. And the Leafs lose 4-3 in overtime, but they score again with 6 seconds left. John Tavares gets his 1,000th point. We talked about it yesterday on the show, like, would the Islanders salute John Tavares? And obviously the Leafs had been granted permission from the league to allow the bench to clear, which I think was pretty cool. Mm-hmm. And naturally, the league is going to say go ahead. It's a big milestone. Only the 98th player ever to reach that, which I was surprised by. I don't know why I felt like there would have been more players that have hit 1,000 points. But the Islanders, they saluted him. The fans did not. And that's fine. That's
never going to go away.
And why should it go away?
Right.
Like, the beauty of sports, what makes sports is that you love and you hate.
Yeah.
You have to love and you hate. And there are players you love, there are players you hate. There are teams you love, there are teams you hate. And it's sports love and it's sports hate. It's not real. It's not, being like just a completely negative person or overly positive person or whatever. But that's what drives the whole industry.
Of course.
And that's what makes the whole atmosphere fun. Why would they ever salute John Tavares?
Exactly.
Like, I fully expected they were going to boo him when he hit 1,000 points. They'll boo him for the rest of his life.
Dude, they
and he made that choice when he left.
When that tribute video, the first time he went back and they played that tribute video and there were images of him walking into like their sick kid's hospital and they were still booing the video from start to finish, I knew there was never going to be any hope for Tavares and going back to the island. They were always going to boo him.
It's a bonding opportunity for New York Islander fans.
Yeah.
Like, it's a generational thing now. Like, people that are in their 20s and 30s and 40s, they're going to tell their kids and their kids beyond that, there was a time when John Tavares left and we all hated him and we all boo him and we boo him for the rest of time.
And guess what?
And that's what's going to happen.
They got better without him. They went to an Eastern Final. They've won more playoff rounds. They've won 6 playoff rounds since he left, and Leafs won 1.
It was like a Bryce Harper scenario to an extent, although they didn't win a Stanley Cup, but they were heartbroken. The guy left.
They were heartbroken, and then they took it with pleasure that it didn't go particularly well for Tavares in Toronto. Or it hasn't gone particularly well for Tavares in Toronto. I mean, the chant you heard is like, "We don't need you." Mm-hmm. I mean, that stings, man.
That does. Stuff. And I do think it would have been different if he had won with the Islanders. I would assume. I don't know.
It would be.
Because there is a Kawhi element to this, right? Although Kawhi was only here for 1 year. He was in New York for 9. But, like, Kawhi won, and then he left. But I don't even get the impression that people were rooting against Kawhi's success with the Clippers.
No.
Like, I have not picked up on that.
Because he won.
Right. No, I understand that. But, like, he also chose not to stay. And it's like, I guess no one's rooting for him to have success, but no one's anti-success. Where I think Islander fans want John Tavares to lose every single game.
Right.
Yes.
Like, they want him to be awful and have a horrible existence.
So which fan base
really
do you
dark.
agree with then? Like, do you think maybe the Canadian, the Toronto fan base is maybe a little too soft?
Yeah.
Or it's like, thank you for the championship, and then we just wish you all the best in everything else you do, even though you didn't choose us. In fact, we're going to put a bronze statue of you outside.
Yeah, I think that's I've always been adamant about that. I don't believe Kawhi's number should be retired. If there's a statue, it's illuminating the moment. Like, if you put a statue of him hitting the shot against Philly, it's a team achievement.
Yes.
Right? It's like if Joe Carter's jumping in the air. Yes, Carter hit the home run, but the Jays won the World Series. I'd be totally fine with that. I could understand that. And he will always hold a special place here, Kawhi Leonard. And Kawhi got traded up here. He never said he was going to stay, and he left. I think it was particularly harsh because they had just won. And it's like, wait a minute, man. You won a title and you still left? But I think people were reasoning with that, the fact that they won. I don't think people are anti-Kawhi with him in L.A., where with Tavares, it's very different. Now, there was a time when Vince left and people hated him here. But that softened over time.
Which that still kind of baffles me, though.
I don't understand it either.
Vince, he wanted out of here. Yep. He was not the nicest.
He quit.
He quit on the team. And then suddenly the Raptors make the playoffs, and it's like, remember the Vince Carter days? I'm like, yeah. And they weren't good.
And on top of that, there have been reports that the Raptors were kicking tires on bringing him back later in his career, and he still didn't want to come back.
Yeah.
So it's like,
I don't know where that love came. The last time I remember this place really getting nasty towards somebody was Daniel Alfredson.
Right.
Always booing him.
Understandable because he's on the other team.
Sure.
Like, that's the way it should be. You know, Brad Marchand, you should hate on that guy. Sports hate. You should hate on the Bruins. You know, the Islanders, whoever it is. And I believe Leaf fans do. Don't get me wrong.
He licked Leo Komarov's face. It's not nice.
That's right.
It wasn't.
All right.
Not nice at all.
Here's former Leaf, longtime NHLer, head coach, NHL Network analyst, one of our favorites, joining us here on the Maple Toyota Hotline. Here's Bruce Boudreau. How you doing, Bruce?
I'm doing well tonight, guys. How are you?
We're doing very well. Yeah, it's great to have you on. I mean, we were talking obviously extensively about John Tavares and his achievement last night. 1,000 points. How do you put that into perspective as a hockey life for yourself, Bruce?
Well, I mean, it's the best league in the world, and to get 1,000 points in it, it's pretty special. There's a reason that in the history of this league, there's only a certain amount of people that have got to that point, and it's pretty special. It puts him in a rarefied air, quite frankly, and I was really happy to see him get it last night. Was really happy to see his reaction, his dad's reaction. A little disappointed in the Islander reaction, but as you were speaking to, I mean, it's sometimes. Those things in New York and Philadelphia, you expect those things.
Yeah, I guess it is something about, like, he left New York, right? And even the Islanders are like, they're the younger brother to the Rangers, so they probably have an inferiority complex on top of everything. They're loud, and I'm not surprised. Like, you said you were disappointed. I'm sure you weren't surprised that they were booing him last night.
Oh, no, not surprised at all. I mean, that's gone on for, decades, and players leaving that team on their own accord and then coming back and getting booed. So, I mean, I'm not surprised at all. But, I mean, I would have thought that, like, I mean, even though there was on the scoreboard, congratulations, John, for 1,000 points, that the crowd would have said, you know what, he spent 9 years here. He gave us everything he had. And let's give him his due now, and then when he touches the puck in overtime, we'll boo him again. But I was surprised that didn't happen.
See, Bruce,
I was hoping it would happen, but it didn't.
And Bruce, you're confirming how I think of you, which is you are such a nice person. So I can't also imagine anyone would ever have booed you during your day. But have you ever had an experience like that where maybe you were or a teammate was, and you're like, man, that is harsh?
No, I haven't been booed unless it was about my play, and I think from up top, managers booed me a lot. But I mean, the fans were always pretty good. So I mean, the one player I do know when I was in Minnesota, when we went to Nashville, Ryan Suter was booed unmercifully every time he touched the puck, and no matter how many years later that he left Nashville, he was still being booed. And watching a Dallas game the other night in Nashville, I mean, he's still booed. So, I mean, people hold grudges. That's what I'm getting, I'm getting, and I think.
No kidding, man. Yeah. And listen, if you're John Tavares, he's a big boy. He made his decision. He's been up here a long time, and we were discussing, how consistent he's been throughout his time here, Bruce, and I was referencing like stats that I came across last night where his last 5 seasons as a New York Islander, he averaged 0.98 points per game. And into his 6th season here as a Maple Leaf, he's averaging 0.98 points per game. Like they're the exact same stats from New York to Toronto. Like what? How do you even explain that, considering now he's into his 30s?
Well, it's an incredible statistic, but I can explain it this way: he's incredibly smart. I look at things like I take Joe Pavelski. He's still going at 39 years old, and it's not because he's a fast skater. It's because he's incredibly smart, got great hands, knows exactly where to go. Like on that, on the empty net goal, and courage. Like it takes a lot of courage to stand right in front of the goalie, and like when you're shooting pucks. That's why a lot of teams' power plays aren't any good, because people won't go to the front of the net. You always tell every team you get, we need somebody right in front of the goalie's eyes. And he wasn't caring whether he scored or not, but by being there, that's how the puck hit him. So, courage and intelligence goes just as far as skating ability and everything else. Wayne Gretzky was a good skater. He was not a tremendous skater, especially the last 5 years of his career. But you'll never find somebody smarter, and that's what John is. He's really smart.
Hey, Bruce, the Leafs obviously heading from one New York destination to the other tonight to play in the Garden against the Rangers, and they got the dads along for the dad's trip. You saw the video of Tavares' dad, Joe, elated at his son's great accomplishment. What's the dad's trip like for the coach when you're coaching an NHL team? Have you had that experience, and what were your takeaways? Are the guys bugging you to play their kid more like they do in the GTHL, or is there some detachment between the head coach and the dads?
The dads are really respectful. The coaches the night before usually hang out with the dads a little bit. I've been on it 3 times, and because my dad's no longer with us, you get to sometimes we're allowed to bring like an offspring, a child or something. And the one time I brought my son, he had a great experience. But the fathers there, it's amazing the bonding that they do as part of the team, as well as the players get it. They're all together. They're usually having a very good time, and it's pretty exciting. And I know if my dad was in the crowd when we ever had that, I would, be trying just a little bit harder, because they're right there, and they're probably your biggest critic as well. So when you come off the ice and you're going home and you're getting in the bus and you're going to the hotel and because there's always people go get a bite to eat with the dads after. I'm sure they're the ones that you're saying, just like you did when you're 10 years old or 12 years old, and say, Dad, how did I play tonight? What did you think I did wrong? What can I do better? Those are the great things and the great memories and moments that you have with your father on the dad's trips.
With Bruce Boudreau, it's a perfect segue into a dad playing a factor in possible dressing room dynamics out in Colorado. I don't know if you saw Rantanen's rant after the game last night, Bruce, but I want to play this clip for you and the audience, because we haven't played it yet today. So Mikko Rantanen, one of the best players in the league, and had a great game last night, played a ton of minutes. They beat Calgary 6-5. He had 3 points. Had a bit of a slower start to the season, and this is what he had to say after the game.
Feels good, and there's actually one thing where I got a lot of extra energy. One of our Finnish NHL players' dad was talking about me in the media that I didn't train last summer like I used to do, and he was just making things up. So I think that was for him. If you talk, it's gonna come back at you.
So he says a Finnish NHL player. It's his teammate, Artturi Lehkonen, his dad. What do you make of that, Bruce?
Well, he's held that in for a long time, and he was waiting to say something. And he went goalless in 9 straight, so he was probably feeling pretty good about himself there, and he just wanted to say, "See, I just stay off my back. I'm a good player, and leave me alone." And I'm sure privately he already talked to his teammate about this thing. But it's tough when you're a star and a stud like he is, and a teammate a teammate's dad is saying something about you. I would be holding it in for the perfect moment. As we usually all do, is hold things in till the perfect moment to display our disfavor in what was being said.
Yeah, I'm curious the dressing room dynamics here, because Artturi Lehkonen's been injured, but he's a good player. They won a cup together. Lehkonen was a big acquisition at the deadline that year, and Lehkonen's been there ever since. And Lehkonen's dad, again, is a former pro coach over in Finland, and I guess part-time analyst because this was in Finland. He wasn't doing this for the Denver Post. This was back home, and obviously Rantanen heard about it. And like you said, he's probably been chewing on it for a while, Bruce. But is this a scenario, like if you're the coach, do you have to have a meeting with these two to make sure it's not an issue between them, or is it over now?
I mean, I would think that, you might want to just sit there and say, hey, boys, okay, let's clear the air between you, but let's move on, because they're line mates too, or they were last year.
Right.
A lot of the time, line mates once Landeskog went down. So I mean, you can't say you can't see them having this little thing between them, and because anytime you get the puck and you don't pass it, the guy will be going, I mean, why is he not passing to me? And you can't have that if you expect to win. So I would think Jared would say, let's clear the air and let's move on with this thing, okay? We know how good you both are.
I want to be on that dad's trip. I want to be there when Lehkonen's dad is walking on the bird, and there's Mikko Rantanen just staring at him. That could be awkward. I won't
tell you, this is a funny story. You're talking about dad's trips, and I won't tell you what team it is, and it was. But the one time we had a dad's trip after the game, all the players, they go have a drink or have a bite to eat with the dads, and then they go to bed, and the dads stay up there. And our team services guy came back the next morning. He says, "You're not going to believe what happened." And I said, "What?" As the coach, I'm sitting there going, "Okay, what happened?" That he says, "They got into a barroom brawl."
What?
True story. I'm not going to say the team, but I mean, one dad was being talked to by a group of guys, and another dad came in and just suckered the guy, and then everybody went at it, and they had it all on film. It was the funniest thing and the most embarrassing thing for the player. I'm telling you, on the dad's trip. I don't know if they did a dad's trip on that particular team for the next couple of years.
Yeah, that is amazing. Imagine that explanation the next day. You're walking to the rink game day, and it's like, Dad, what happened to you? Like you broke
Everyone's
your nose.
got black eyes and missing a tooth.
Exactly. That is hysterical. Yeah, maybe that gets the boys riled up for the night. Who knows?
Or maybe it makes the team. Bruce, is that when the team services guy says, "We're bringing the moms from now on"?
That might have been where the mom's trip started.
Yeah, that's probably exactly what it was with Bruce Boudreau. So you got Connor Bedard against Connor McDavid tonight. It's too bad it's a Tuesday night at 10 p.m. Eastern time. Of course that's the case. Why would you want a marquee matchup like this, early in the evening so people on the East Coast can watch the whole thing? But the Oilers have won 7 in a row. McDavid's back in the top 10. Like, I don't know if you ever got off the bandwagon, Bruce, but are you back on it in terms of the Oilers being a legit team and a powerhouse?
Well, I mean, they've always been a powerhouse. They've always had the people that can do it, and then I've never thought they were out of it, ever. I mean, I've seen teams with worse records than they have had earlier on in the season come back and have great showings. I mean, St. Louis probably being the latest when they won the Cup. But that being said, they're a really good team. And you knew when Connor and Draisaitl were ranking 80th in the league in scoring and in that area anyway, that was not going to stay forever. Those things don't happen. Now, great players have slumps. Great players have bad years. But nobody was ever going to think Connor McDavid was going to have a 60-point year. So, I mean, once he gets going and the team gets going, and then the goaltender got a little bit of confidence, they are where they should be. And I mean, it's a crazy hockey world and it's a crazy hockey season, but it should be game 8 in a row tonight. But I've seen sillier things. I've seen San Jose lose 10 by 10 goals 2 games in a row, then come back and win. So, I mean, anything can happen, and it should be a good game tonight.
Hey, speaking of career milestones, Bruce, nobody's watched Ovi as closely as you have over the years. Not going particularly well for him this year. I mean, last year he scores more goals than Austin Matthews at 42. This year, 25 games in, Bruce, he's got 5. I think he hasn't got one in the last 10. Are we seeing a decline here that's going to threaten the approach of Gretzky's big number? He's still got about 60, I think it's 68 to go to get there. What are you seeing from old number 8?
Well, first of all, don't give up on Ovi. One year he went 11 games, and that was early in his career, and without a goal. I think it was 2016. Not early, but he was still, 50-goal scorer plus then. So I never give up on him. I've seen him look terrible, and then all of a sudden get 3 hat tricks in a row type thing. And I think that could happen. I mean, but it's not going to happen this year unless the power play picks up. I've never seen a guy score 50, 60 goals ever, even in the 40s when your power play was 32nd in the league. And he hasn't had a power play goal, and that power play has been a focal point for the 18 years that Ovi's been in the league. So, I mean, and every goal scorer that gets 50 goals or more or 40 goals or more usually has 10-plus power play goals. And, I mean, he's got none. So, I mean, if the power play picks up, he'll be the focal point on the power play scoring the goals, and I think it'll pick up. But I still think that he's got enough left in the tank that, he's going to get 25-plus goals this year in my mind. If he didn't, I think he'd doubt himself. If he got like 12 or something like that, then I think he'd start doubting himself. But I firmly believe that at some point he's going to catch fire. He doesn't have Nicky at center, and Kuznetsov's not having a good year, and Ryan Strome wasn't playing with him for a lot of that. So, I mean, there's reasons that he's not scoring. But, man, I've known him for so long. I just believe in that guy, because every time I thought he was down and out, he would score. And the one year I had, he scored 65 goals, and anytime he needed a goal, he was there. And, I mean, he's still got the shot. He's still got the strength. So, you know what? He's still leading their team in scoring at 16 points. And there's not a very high-scoring team in Washington, but I do believe he'll get between 25 and 30 this year and still put him on track to catch Gretz in the next couple of years.
Always great catching up with you, Bruce. We appreciate you doing this. We'll do it again soon.
No problem. Anytime, guys. Have a great night.
You too. Bruce Boudreau joining us here on the Maple Toyota Hotline. Build your next dream Toyota at Maple Toyota. And check out Maple Toyota's pre-owned inventory arriving daily. It's time to Toyota. Visit mapletoyota.com. Yeah, every night they play, like I try to check in, and if I don't, like the first thing I do is check the box score, like the game sheet right after. I'm like, did he get one? Did he get one? And every game it's like, nope. Like Ovi stuck at 5 through 25 games. It's a sign of, like, he's 38 years old. It's only going to get worse in terms of production, but he has been such a machine since day one.
Yeah.
Like right when he stepped into the league. I think he had a hat trick his first game. He scored 50 his rookie season. It's just automatic every single year. The guy's a machine.
Well, I had to pull up the numbers just to remind myself of what he's also done, and it's not like he's slacked either. I mean, you're right, 42, 50 the year before. Had a bit of a slow year. I mean, obviously that was the pandemic, 24. Then you're looking at 48, 51, 49. So, you wonder a little bit, Father Time, undefeated. I always wonder, though, somebody of that type of caliber, is there something that we just don't know about? They never really tell you. Is there an injury? I don't know, something going on. Or sometimes this is like a player just needs to be open and honest, and maybe it's subconscious. You don't even realize it, but it's like the closer you're getting to something, like, is it on your mind?
Yeah.
Can it be a little paralyzing sometimes?
For sure. Like his whole future is based around passing Gretzky.
Because he also said it.
Yeah.
He has put that out there in the world, in the ether. He's like, I want that record.
And they're not naive enough to believe that they're legitimately competing for a Stanley Cup. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs.
No.
Maybe they get in. If they do, I think they get dusted. I think Ovechkin's aware of that. Everyone on that team within the organization is aware of it. The whole system in Washington is about him passing Gretzky. Mm-hmm. That's it.
Wow.
Like, that's it.
Then maybe they need to work on that power play, because it is like it's dead last.
Right.
How can the greatest goal scorer of all time be on the ice for the worst power play in the league? Like, they're 6 for 73. He doesn't have a goal. They're 8%.
That's amazing, because Pittsburgh hasn't scored a goal in like an eternity on the power play. Yeah. And the idea
these guys are worse.
And they're worse statistically. That would speak to, without breaking down the tape, it would speak to me that their logic is we got to feed this guy. And yet, that was the plan forever. Watching him in his prime, it was just, where he's going to stand, and they're going to find him, and he's going to shoot.
And he's still going to score.
Like, you can put a guy on him if you want, or you can let the goalie know that it doesn't matter. He's going to find a way to score. And he's getting shots on net. Like, he had a couple of games early in the season where he went back-to-back without registering a shot. First time that had happened in his career. And then I think the next game he had, 11 shots.
Yeah.
And he's always getting 3, 4 shots, 6, 7 attempts. He's getting shots on net. They're just not going in.
Yeah, which is very strange. And we're not used to that with him.
But he's not getting quite the volume he used to. He was leading the league. Like, every year he led the league in goal scoring. He was leading the league by a mile in not only shots on net, but missed shots, shot attempts. He was a machine.
His stat line at the end of a night when he was in his prime, it would be 13 shot attempts, 8 on net, 12 hits, 2 goals, 24 minutes. It was insane what this guy was doing. Because he would hit, he would have double-digit hits almost every single night.
Yeah, and I 100% am going to preface this by saying I know that I'm jumping the gun here, and I'm not trying to sound the alarm bell. I would just hate, though, if this is truly a father time type of thing, to see him desperately trying to chase this and see this incredible goal-scoring career that maybe should have ended a year or two earlier keep going because of something. I can't see that again. You look at his numbers. Last year, he put up 42 goals. Year before that, 50. I know this is way too early to have this kind of conversation, but I have to say it always breaks my heart when I see an incredible athlete not know when to call it quits sometimes. And in this particular case, because he's chasing something, is he going to keep going?
Well, that's the thing. He knows when to quit. Yeah. It's 895 goals.
Right.
That's when you quit.
What is he at now? I forgot the count. He's got to be
He's 60-something back.
I think he's 60. I think he started the year at 73, and he needs...
But you're right, though, Andy, there is an integrity of the pace at stake here, right? There's an integrity of the record at stake where it's if this guy's 45 years old...
He's I finally got it.
Yeah, and they're just pushing him onto the ice, and it's man, it went off my shin pad and in. It's come on, dude. That's going to be tough. Where that didn't seem possible even at the start of the season. He had 42 goals last year.
Yeah.
I think most people, myself included, were all right, he's going to probably score 35 this year, 35 the next, and then it'll be it's done.
And then thank you.
Yeah,
very much.
and now it's man, what if he only scores 15, then he scores 10, then you're man, this guy might...
Then it's a long road.
He's at 827.
You're right. Yeah. So he's still got a fair amount of goals to score.
Long way to go.
To your point, if he keeps pace with what he did the previous years, you were still always looking at about 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, exactly. He wasn't going to score 60 again. That wasn't going to happen. It was a great season again would be 40 again. And if he did that, you're still thinking, man, you got to have a really good or great season next year, and maybe you get it at the end. Speaking of stats, though, a lot of people are circling McDavid. I don't think he'll do it this year, but I think he's sitting on 883 points.
Oh,
117 to hit 1,000. That would be pretty much right on 2 points per game the rest of the way.
Mm-hmm.
I think they have 57 games left. I wouldn't put it past him to hit 1,000 points on game 82 this year. If he got hot and really started rocking, 2 points a game over the course of 50 games, very doable for McDavid.
Oh, yeah.
Which would be amazing. If he hit 1,000 points and he's 27, would just be remarkable.
And
he's doing it next year. If he's healthy, it's going to happen next year.
Yeah, I wonder where that would put him as far as the fastest.
I think it's Gretzky, Lemieux, and then I would guess he'd be 3. I don't know, but maybe Yager or someone like that, but... Gretzky and Lemieux were miles ahead of everyone.
You say 2 points a game from here on out, and on this 7-game win streak, he's nearly had 3. Mm-hmm. 20 points in 7 games.
Right, exactly.
Right? So he can...
Does that a couple more times, and the numbers shrink.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So he can, when he rolls like he's rolling right now, 2 points a game seems like nothing.
Anything's
2 points
possible.
a period. Yeah. It's kind of scary.
Yep, for sure. All right, Confirm or Deny coming up. Overdrive continues, TSN 1050 and on the TSN app.
Now, back to Overdrive with Hayes, Noodles, and the O-Dog.
I can neither confirm or deny that this is in fact a segment.
Boston trades Andrew Raycroft to Toronto in exchange for the rights to Tuukka Rask.
It's been my honor and a privilege to serve as the general manager of the Toronto Maple Leafs Hockey Club.
It's time for confirm or deny.
Do you regret giving all those gentlemen the no trades or no movement clauses?
Well, I can neither confirm or deny that.
I can't confirm or deny.
All right, Confirm and Deny is brought to you by Don Valley North Lexus. Get lease rates as low as 3.3% for 28 months on select 2024 RX and NX models with security deposits applied. Visit DonValleyNorthLexus.com for all the details. All right. You guys have played Confirm and Deny before, right? Very simple stuff, very exciting stuff. Statements are made. We go around the table, we confirm them or we deny them. It's very creative stuff. All right, John Tavares hit 1,000 points last night. Confirm or deny, John Tavares will reach at least 1,300 points in his career. Does he have 300 more in his career? At least 300.
I'm going to say deny. Mm-hmm. I'm going to go deny on that one. I think, based on everything that we've been saying already at the beginning of the show, a lot of people are still shocked that he's even, still doing what he's doing and being consistent with the Leafs, given that he is getting older. He's going to be nearing the end of that contract. Plus, I think most of the responsibility is going to fall on the shoulders of Austin Matthews. And right now it's Mitch Marner. Who knows if William Nylander sticks with the team and everything else. So I just, I think that's a lot to ask of him anyways, as somebody who's also just getting older. So I'm going to deny. I think, what? He hit 1,000.
I think that's reasonable. 1,000's a great milestone.
It's a great milestone. And I would not think any less of him if he didn't hit 1,300.
Right.
Look, I'm going to have to confirm it because you look at the numbers you just pointed out, Hayes. This guy has been a model of clockwork consistency. 0.98 points per game. Every year.
Yeah.
So it's just, I'm a point-a-game guy at 33, as he is this season. He was a point-a-game guy at 30. I have no reason to believe he won't be something damn close to a point-a-game guy at 34, 35, 36. That's going to tick him up to the 300 points you're talking about.
Yeah. I'm going to confirm it as well because I think he's also just a hockey lifer and a hockey nerd, really.
Yeah.
The guy's already played 1,000 games. He stepped in at 18. He never gets injured. Knock on wood, that can affect everything here. But he's kind of like a Ron Francis type where I think he's going to play like 1,700 games or close to it. I think he plays till he's at least 40.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean it will be all with the Leafs. It doesn't mean it's going to be with the same role. He's clearly not going to be a number one guy as he gets older, even as a secondary guy. But is he smart enough, like Bruce Boudreau said earlier in the hour, to play third-line minutes, fourth-line Spezza type stuff, second power play later in his career and get to 1,300? I think he can.
Yeah.
I think he can. I think he'll continue to put up very consistent numbers for another year or two. Then beyond that, let's say it scales back to 60 points this season on average.
Yeah.
But if he does that for another 7-8 years, he's probably going to get there. The math would suggest he will.
I bet you he's going to get to $12.99.
And then shut the mill down and just say, I'm out?
Yeah.
Just to make sure you got the confirm or deny right. I want to make sure Andi Petrillo is accurate.
$12.99
with her confirm
later.
You're talking about you're climbing the ladder of legends, though, right?
You get into 1,300.
That's 1,300 is Jerome McGinley.
Wow.
Gilbert Perreault's right above him. It's like tough stuff.
And again, Ginla took a little bit longer for him to get in and then really get established. Tavares at 18 was playing.
True.
And putting up numbers.
Yeah.
That goes a long way too, is that I think he's going to play for 21 years, 22 years. Again, 1,600 games. It's just going to be crazy the amount. His resume is going to be crazy.
If he's got 7 more seasons in him, like you're suggesting, because he's 33 right now, you're thinking he's going to go 40 plus.
Yeah. He averages 50 points a season. He blows past 1,300.
Way past.
Yeah.
He could be getting into that upper echelon. 1,500 points has only been 16 guys that got 1,500 points.
Wow. Yeah, Sid Novi have hit it recently, I believe.
But I guess my other, and great, you guys, fine, valid points. But I guess here's my other question. If his next contract is not with the Toronto Maple Leafs, I do wonder what kind of role he also plays if he goes elsewhere. Right now, he's with a team where he is relied upon a lot. To your point, when you start to get older, you do start to see also those types of lifers. You're signing 1-year deals here. Maybe it's 2-year deals here. But suddenly you're not on the first and second line anymore. I don't know. Anything could happen. I wish him the best. If he wants to get to 2,000, I hope he does it. But I just look at someone, to your point, who's at 33, who's coming near the end of this Toronto contract. What has he got? A couple more years left?
He's got one more left.
Or one more left.
After this, one more next year.
Yeah, so one more. And I don't know if he's going to come back because I think the Leafs, if anything, would be happy to have a little bit of that cash to then spend.
If he comes back, let's clarify, it is for a massive discount based on the money he's making right now. I think there would be, we don't have to cross this bridge right now, but an abundance of pressure for him to play the Patrice Bergeron role here. You want to stick around as the captain? Say you'll do it for $2 million.
Right.
Yeah.
Pull a Shohei Ohtani and defer that money if you have to. But
if only they could.
If only they could.
Yeah.
But $2 million. Be Shohei for Toronto. $2 million. All right, confirm and deny. Connor McDavid will win more Hart trophies than Crosby and Ovechkin combined. So Crosby and Ovechkin combined have 5. McDavid currently has 3. So in other words, I could have simplified this. Said Connor McDavid will win at least 3 more Harts.
Yes, confirm.
Yeah?
Confirm.
Okay.
This guy, I just feel like is not slowing down, is getting better. Even when he has a bit of a slow start to a season, he suddenly turns around and says, I'm going to go on a, whatever point streak he's on now. No, I definitely think he has it in him to win for sure. 3 minimum.
That'll be amazing. 6 Harts is just an incredible career. He's had an incredible career already.
But do you and that's the thing, I just don't even know if I see him slowing down. He's beloved by the hockey pundits. He's beloved by hockey people who do that voting, right? Because the Hart is the media, the Ted Lindsay. That's the players.
And they love him too.
They love him too.
Love about him as a player. The guy's a clear-cut best player in the world.
Yeah.
But 3 more is asking a lot. I don't think he's going to get it this year. Now, I will say the narrative is starting to spin. If he drags them back into the playoffs and they win a ton of games, he ends up, flying past everyone in points, which I think is just a matter of time. But
wouldn't that be a great narrative?
That's the thing. The narrative will be huge for him to get it this year.
He went from 100 and something in scoring to number 1.
But I'm actually going to deny it because 3 more is just. He's 27 now, I believe. He's not getting younger. I agree with you. He's still as dominant as he ever has been. But at some point, his game will scale back a little bit. And there can be voter fatigue. The fact that Sid's only won 2 is amazing.
It is.
That seems like almost injustice.
I actually, when you said that number, I was actually kind of shocked when you said combined they were 5. But the only voter fatigue would be because there's a new shiny toy, and that could be Connor Bedard.
Yes.
Right?
And it's not this year, but eventually it could be.
But I also just think, the dude's coming off, 154 153-point season? No.
Yeah.
I still think, we just finished talking about Tavares being a lifer. I think Connor McDavid has another decade in him. No way.
Right.
No way.
You know what? I don't think he's going to do it. I'm going to have to deny it.
You guys are Debbie
it's just,
Downer.
Look, he's won 2 of the last 3.
So is it whatever I say, you just go opposite? Is this how this game works?
That's the whole plan. That's why we put you in the middle.
That's right.
You're in the middle so that you go first and we do the complete opposite.
Whatever.
It's hard to do. It's to your point, Hayes. You got to, he's had, last year was undeniable. There was no debate.
No.
He had
best year of his career last year.
He was secretariat. He blew everybody away by such a margin. You couldn't not give it to him, right? But you can't do that every year. Gretzky won 9. Gordie Howe won 6, but then you go down there, Eddie Shore won 4, but nobody else has won more than 4.
Right. Like Lemieux did.
But why is
you
that?
had 3. Bobby Clark 3. Bobby Orr 3.
We have no problem giving Patrice Bergeron the defensive forward.
The Selke.
The Selke, he just gets it all the time. When it comes to Norris as well and D-men, we had no problem just giving it to
Lidstrom won it it seemed
Oh my God, Nick Lidstrom, I felt like he did. He won it all the time. Isn't it funny that there are those 2 awards, maybe more than anything, it feels like nobody questions why the same person will win it 4 or 5 times in a row, but everything else is oh no.
Well, you bring up a good point in terms of if he's lapping the field. You look at Gretzky. Gretzky won it 8 years in a row. When he won it in 79-80, he did not relinquish it until 87-88 when Lemieux won his first. And then he took a year off and then won it again his first year in L.A. So he won 9 out of 10 years.
Yeah.
Where, again, I wasn't voting at that point, but I'm assuming they just said there's nothing to talk about here.
Right.
It's Gretzky. He had 215 points. They won 55 games or whatever. Just give it to him. And I think the difficult thing for McDavid is the league has expanded.
Sure.
His team in the salary cap era, you can't surround him with guys like Curry and Messier and Coffey to guarantee success. That's what's happened this year. But I'm sure a large part of that run for Gretzky was just, guys, don't overthink it. Don't get stupid. Just give it to him.
Right.
And Jordan, same thing. Was just give it to him. He's the guy. Stop thinking about it. And McDavid, does he deserve that kind of respect? Possibly. Now, again, the Oilers were winning cups, and this is a regular season award, but the Oilers were also a juggernaut at that.
That's the thing. And I mean, like in those Gretzky years, it was just like nobody blew people out of the water in the points race like Gretzky blew people out of the water in the points race. It was basically the Art Ross Trophy. Because you won it by 50%, we have to give you the MVP as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was really not about anything other than that.
Yes.
Of course, pretty important thing. So it's just tough to do. Like he hasn't been able to do that every year, right? And so
it's very difficult to do. And
and then the other thing is his success is directly related to Draisaitl's success, and Draisaitl got one already.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, if Draisaitl wins one, I count it as a Connor McDavid win too.
Well, it almost
I just
is.
wanted to put
it's
that
a little
in
bit
there.
of one, right?
So should Sid get one extra because Gino got one that
Sure,
one?
yeah.
Year?
Well,
okay, so Sid's got 3 now.
He's a factor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
Okay.
works. That's how the math works.
All right. Confirm or deny, there have been reports coming out of LA that the Lakers are going to put up an NBA Cup championship banner in their building. Confirm or deny, they should put up an NBA Cup championship banner in their building. Are you go first, and then we'll
No,
respond.
don't do this to me.
I'll go first, then.
Okay.
I'm going to confirm that they should because Adam Silver wants it to happen. That's why I think it's absolutely ridiculous. Although I do, historically, I will say this, and I didn't get to it yesterday. I think it's awesome that LeBron and the Lakers won the first one, because if this develops into something great in 30 years, you can say LeBron had one.
Yeah.
Right? LeBron was the first one to do it, albeit a lot of people didn't quite follow it, didn't understand it. When it got to Vegas, it was kind of cool, but they blew out teams. Like the championship game was brutal. And yet, like, he won the MVP, he was great. But if you want this to mean something, and you're partying afterwards, and you're showing the champagne and all that, I guess you got to put the banner up. Like, you almost have to follow through based on being a good citizen for the sport and for the league, and moreover for the commissioner who desperately wants this to work.
Right.
I think it's so goofy, but I will confirm that there should be a banner up.
I was going to say, like, I would confirm it in maybe 2-3 years. So if the tournament shows itself to be something that turns into a legitimate one, something that seems to be growing, something that seems to be worth bragging about, then you put it up. Because the last thing you want, it's almost like the World Cup of hockey, which I still can't figure out what's happening there in the NHL. And it's like, do you care? Do you not? It almost becomes the butt end of a joke. You don't want that banner if it's hanging there. If suddenly this becomes a dud, it doesn't work out, and then you're looking up and your fans are like, meh.
And it's the Lakers.
It becomes the butt end of a joke.
They have so many titles, and the Kings are in there. They've got titles, and it's like, you got an NBA Cup banner up there.
So just wait a couple years.
Okay.
See how it plays out, and then
I can reason with that.
And then you put it
Retroactive
up.
banner raising.
There's something to that for sure. Look, I'm going to confirm it because I think they're doing it right. My understanding is they're putting up one banner. It will not look anything like the actual championship banners. It's going to be a separate banner, and it's only going to be one banner. So if they win the NBA Cup again,
what is it
they'll
going to be
just
like?
put like
5x8?
2023, then they're going to put 2025 or
I
whatever they
see.
win it, and they'll just add. Just like the Raptors have that Atlantic Division Champions banner,
Yes.
and they just got the dates. They won it. They don't put up a separate Atlantic Division Championship banner every time they win the Atlantic.
Okay.
Not gonna
You know those
win.
little banners
I
you
like
have
that.
hanging from your rearview mirror in the car?
Yeah.
It's going to be that little. Just like,
Yeah.
maybe no one will
Keep
notice
that
it right
subtle.
in the corner right there.
Hey,
and then
listen.
we'll wait and see.
If you're a Raptor fan and you get to go down there, and if they want it, would you? I think the fans will be like, why not?
I think it's great.
Why not?
I think
Try
it's
something
like
different.
I was a huge cynic about this thing. I thought this is not going to work. No one's going to care. Guess what? Everybody cared. Like the players cared.
Players certainly care.
And I thought it was a nice storyline. As much as nobody wants to see pro athletes make more money necessarily, but it was like LeBron talking about how he's trying to win it for the guys on two-way deals.
That's exactly
who
what.
make 500 G's, and this was the guys on two-way deals got $250,000 each cash.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
That's big. That was what became clear, is that the star players realized they had almost a duty to the guys further down the bench.
yeah.
Right? It's like, yes, LeBron, does he need $500,000? No, but the 12th man could use it. He didn't play.
Exactly.
He didn't bring anything to the table.
Yeah, I mean-
but he gets $500,000 or whatever it is.
Listen, I'll tell you right now, a lot of leagues, I mean, even right into soccer, they are really already we know MLS had the League's Cup, but they're also talking about like a first part of the season, second part of the season, or definitely these in tournament or in season tournaments. I know the NHL isn't really exploring it, but I can tell you other leagues are doing it.
Yeah.
And the fans are getting behind it. Like they really are, because I mean, I know we're running out of time here, but I know I've sung this from the mountaintops for many years. I almost feel like the regular season doesn't really mean anything especially in the NHL in particular? What are you killing yourself for? There's not a bye. I mean, people will argue you play the crappiest team. I still don't think that's good enough because everything seems to be a clean slate come playoff time. But I think it matters when you have these other little tournaments in there.
Yeah. Okay, we'll continue on that. Confirm or deny brought to you by Don Valley North Lexus. Get lease rates as low as 3.3% for 28 months on select 2024 RX and NX models with security deposits applied. Visit DonValleyNorthLexus.com for all the details. All right, we got Leo Rautins coming up on the Raptors losing last night. Trey Wingo on the NFL last night. Moving ahead to Week 15. Overdrive continues, TSN 1050 and on the TSN app.
Now, back to Overdrive with Hayes, Noodles, and the O-Dog.
All right, TSN 1050's Leafs lineup. Your chance to win Leaf tickets every week, all season long. Every weekday, we announce a current or former Maple Leaf player, and on Fridays, you have a chance to call in and name the Leaf lineup of the week. This week, we're giving away a pair of tickets to see the Leafs play the Rangers December 19th. Big tickets, man. Big tickets. Plus, we're throwing in a $250 Vanilla Visa prepaid card with each pair of tickets to make it the ultimate game night. Vanilla Visa prepaid cards are available for purchase at Petro Canada. Your player of the day is Jimmy Vesey. Jimmy Vesey, who was a short-time Leaf and was obviously a Ranger as well.
Right.
Remember the hype of him coming out of school?
Yeah.
He was at Harvard, I believe.
Coveted
His
free agent.
dad with the Leafs, too? Or
Yeah, his
something?
dad was a scout. That's right. Yeah, his dad was a scout. That's why, we were kind of Otaniing that a little bit, thinking he's going to come here and choose the Leafs, and it didn't happen. I don't think we're tracking private jets necessarily with Jimmy Vesey, but a lot of irrational thought.
Do you feel upset that happened?
Yes, I do feel
Really upset about that?
feel upset. Yeah, because throughout the whole process, it was like, I don't think he's coming here. And then all of a sudden, it's like, this private bird, which would have been just goofy if John Morosi didn't say he was flying up. And then it's like, all right, you corroborate this. Now it's legitimized. Now we start to see it actually materializing. And then the next day, Dodgers, 10 years, 700 sheets.
Like,
Thanks for coming out.
You got used.
Yes, in the end, that's exactly what happened. All right, final hour coming up. More on the Leafs in New York, playing the Rangers tonight. Andi Petrillo's in here with Dave Feschuk. I'm Bryan Hayes. Overdrive continues. TSN 1050, soon to be up on TSN 2.